Economic growth is defined as a sustained increase in the output of goods and services in an economy. It's usually measured by looking at the economy's real GDP. We can represent economic growth using two diagrams, the PPF diagram and the ADAS diagram. Using the PPF diagram enables us to distinguish between two types of economic growth. The first is short-run economic growth. This is a movement outwards towards the PPF, which occurs because there's a reduction in unemployed factors of production. The second is long-run economic growth, also called an increase in productive potential. This is a movement of the PPF itself, which occurs because there's an increase in the quantity and/or quality of factors of production, and/or an improvement in the technology that helps us to use them. We can also show economic growth using the ADAS diagram by moving the LRAS curve outwards. Such outward shifts of LRAS are achieved by investment. The investor can be private firms, the government, or households. You're investing right now by learning about economics. And the investment can be in physical capital, such as making a machine, human capital, such as your knowledge of economics, or natural capital, such as improving the soil on a farm. Many investments increase the productivity of existing factors of production, and thus enable us to produce more output from the same inputs. For example, using the machine, that is YouTube, I'm able to produce many thousands more hours of teaching, so YouTube dramatically increases the productivity of me. As you can see from the ADAS diagram, economic growth is great news for the economy, increasing output and employment and lowering inflation. And these benefits really cannot be emphasized enough. With more output, there can be more consumption and higher living standards. And with more employment and lower inflation, poverty can be reduced. Increased potential output and lower prices will also make our exports more competitive, improving our balance of payments. However, the benefits of economic growth are not necessarily distributed evenly, particularly if the benefit accrues to investors who are already wealthy. And many environmental campaigners see a direct conflict between economic growth and sustainability, because few countries take into account the negative environmental effects of economic growth when quoting their GDP. Such sustainability measures are available, and one is called green GDP. If a logger chops down a forest and sells the lumber, then this will increase GDP. However, this increase does not take into account the loss of the forest to future generations. So a green GDP method would subtract from the sales price of the forest the future value of the forest. And this may well mean that the logging causes a net reduction of green GDP. This shows that traditional measures of economic growth may encourage us to understate our environmental impact. And that's it for economic growth. Next up is equity.